Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, this is the episode called Gamechanger. It's the second time I'm doing it. The first episode I did, the first version I did, the quality was really bad, so I had to redo it again, so which is a real pity because it was kind of a good save. Now we're back here, so what's the background? We got Levsi Sofia. What's Gamechanger? It's a chance for you to send in your saves to me and I do things to it. Maybe some magic, I don't know. We'll try to figure things out. That's the whole goal. I'm trying to figure things out with you and see whether there are options in your saves. Now we've got a save from a league in Bulgaria, Levsi Sofia. If you know your history, then you know this is one of the best clubs in Bulgarian history. I think well over 20 league titles or along that line. I mean, really a phenomenal club in Bulgarian football. The first thing I do whenever I go into the club is look at the financial situation. What do we have to play with? Scouting budget, wage budget tells me I can only sign free transfers. So we know that we only can sign free transfers. We don't have a lot of money to spend. So the next step is to find out where we sit. So here we want to know how we stand against the rest of the league. So I normally do something like this. I've done it in enough shows for you to understand where I'm coming from. Number to beat 12. If you don't know what I mean by number to beat, you got to figure it out. It's in a DNA show. Basically, the attributes that we need to beat the rest of the league in terms of stuff like here, off the ball is 11.17 is Ludogorets. So we want to beat that number. So I baseline everything to 12. So it's time to look at the squad then. What do we know about this squad? So we know that 12 is a number to beat, and we have to be realistic about our expectations. They're in the Europa Cup. Nobody expects them to get into the group stages, but we want to give it a good show. Then we have to be realistic with our expectations. We're going to meet clubs like Everton, big clubs like that, and they might kick our asses. And so our attributes definitely don't line up to be competitive against clubs like that. And so we have to manage our expectations. So here, when I'm looking at the defenders, I notice immediately that you've got Jablonski, who's very good, 14-14. If he can play, he has to play every game. Holma is almost a starter in every single game as well because he's the second best central defender you have. And then we have issues at the back because you got no cover. So we're hoping that this guy comes back. And then when I'm looking at your fullbacks, they're pretty slow. Positioning, they're very average, and then they're not very strong in the tackle. 9-10 makes your flanks very weak, and they also it's not strong as well. They get shoved off the game, but they're not as bad as Alberto Moreno, trust me. Okay, so they need some help. So whatever tactic you use, you got to understand that your fullbacks aren't very strong in Europe. They may not even be strong in the Bulgarian league. We got a first choice player. We got a few players here, and I don't see a lot of first choices in your fullbacks. So if I'm looking at just your fullbacks alone, left-sided fullbacks, that's it. You only got Ivan Goranov. And then you got central, you got right. There's not a lot of fullbacks on display here, and this puts a bigger pressure on your team because who can you play in the fullback category? So it becomes an important area that you may even want to try and bring in a free signing. Then when we look at your defensive midfielders, now your defensive midfielders as a group, they're okay, but they lack in strength. Their strength is like 10, below average for the rest of the league. Most of the other attributes, they're about average, but then when we get to the choices that you can play with, they're not that good. Vasil Panatov is just average. And then you've got you've got a key player who expects to be playing, who doesn't tackle very well. Right, his positioning is just average, so we have a lot of constraints with this team. Then when we're looking at our central midfielders, we notice that you've got three key players: Yodi, Gabriel, and Roman. When it comes to dynamics, these key players have to play in 60% of your game, so it's going to be a major challenge for you to get them to play. But then when you look at Yodi Gomez, and you look at his support, ability to come back and support, positioning not that good, then you look at his acceleration, his slow, his bravery, his concentration. It doesn't have the full package. And then you look at all your winging, attacking players and support duties, you have problems. So if you're looking at this tactic, which is your tactic, this group of players up here, they're not going to come back and defend a lot. So you're going to have weaknesses in this area. Your tactic in itself is going to be weak in certain areas because the front liners, they don't contribute to the defensive phase at all. Now, we're not saying they have to, but we need to understand what they bring to the table, because remember, with your wingbacks aren't that good. Your defenders are average, and that puts you in a bind if you go to face teams in Europe. At home, maybe you can get away with it, but you need to create some kind of a plan to shore up those problem areas. So what do? The first thing we do, we go scouting. Now, scouting is interesting because this is going to be like an LLM safe, where you want to plan your scouting strategy. In this sense, you want to make use of the shortlist. This shortlist is going to be damn important for this strategy. What you're going to do is this. You have to go to your player search the first 2 months preseason and the first couple of months before during the transfer window. Get your scouts to go out if you need to. Alternatively, you go out there, you do a quick search and go and pick players based on a certain profile. Hit OK, filter through them. These are all your free signings, possibly free signings. Invite all of them to trials at your club. Then they come for trials. If you need to scout any players, you go and scout them. Once you've done that, add them to your shortlist. You're going to get a shortlist going. Once you have the shortlist going, go back to your package, reduce your package to 0, save your money, don't spend anything because you don't want to be spending money. Then towards the end of the year, when you have at least you only need about 70% knowledge anyway. Look at this, 68%, you get enough attributes here to make a decision. If you need more attributes to make a decision, I don't know. If you need 100%, I really don't see the point of going for 100%. Okay, 80% is usually more than enough. So you get this, you know what kind of player he is. Then at the end of the season, if you need to scout opposition teams, or you need to go and scout, if you need to go and scout more players, then if you have money in a transfer budget, you can always do the balancing act. Or other than that, you can just go back in and just set your senior package back and go and scout players, so you can avoid the need to go and scout any other player. So scouting only occurs in preseason and postseason. I just do it that way. It works. It's brilliant. It's easy. You keep your costs down as well. So we've done the scouting. Now what about training? Now I noticed one thing where you're training, you actually had it on fitness high, and you actually had it on match tactics. This was your setting. I come in, once your preseason is coming to an end, immediately get off. Go to attacking movement. Okay, just you can go on attacking movement, or in this particular case, you can go on defensive positioning because we got a big match against Everton coming up. So this is enough. Then you've done what you need to do, and you've analyzed your team. You've gone in and you set your system up for training. You've set your system for scouting. You know what your financial situation is. What about your staff? Do you need to sign any more staff? You don't need to sign any more staff. The one thing that you might want to sign is more physios, because physios will help you with treatment of your injuries. So you don't have any physios here, so get yourself some physios. This is important. Fill up your 3 slots with physios if you need to. Just go out there and just get these 3 guys. They are more important than your scouts. The scouts aren't that important. The physios are. So let's now talk about your tactic. Now you've got a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-1-2-3. The problem now with your system is you don't have the players for the 4-1-2-3. This system just won't work because you got trequartista on attack. You got an attacking playmaker. If you're gonna play Jordi Gomez here or any other player here, most of your players here in this area, they're never coming back. They don't tackle. They got low concentration and low bravery, so you can count them out. And then most of your players who are playing in this position, all your playmakers who are playing in this position, all have low bravery, so they don't want to tackle. They got low work rate as well, so you can expect them not to really put in a shift to help this area out. Putting a lot of pressure on this area, and you got wing backs here, and you've got a fullback on attack. These 2 guys go forward. There's nobody protecting your flanks, and that's not going to be ideal for you. So this is something that you may want to consider. Now, how else would I play? You also have a 4-2-3-1 DM wide system. Now this system, when you set it up, you got to remember one thing. 3 attack DTs lined up like that, playing pass into space, drop deeper. Your only hope is teams attacking you. If they don't attack you, you got no space. There's nowhere for these guys to go. Isolation is going to be the theme of the tactic, and you're probably going to struggle. So you need to come up with an alternative plan of action for this tactic. Now, so what we've done is slightly different. We've got 4-2-3-1, the deep 4-2-3-1 that you're using, except this time we have a winger on attack attacking this flank. We got DLF on attack, will hold up the ball. We got an attacking playmaker as well. So he's going to drop back into this area sometimes. We also have a wingback on support who's going to move up here to lend some support to the left flank. Now, these aren't the players who are going to be playing in the tactic, but generally this is the setup for this tactic. Then our player instructions are going to be pretty simple. We've got few risky passes, shoot less often, stay wider for the wingback on the left. Then we've got for the wingback on the right, the same thing, but he's going to be told to sit narrower. Then we got a volante up top who's been told to take few risky pass. I think the volante on top is been told to make more direct passing. Then we've got a DLP on support who has got more direct passing, more risky passes. And then up top, there are no player instructions on any of these roles. So we left them as bulk basic. And our team instructions are going to be play out of defense, work ball into box, use offside trap, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, why am I playing out of defense? It depends on the situation. There'll be times when I remove this shot, play out of defense if I'm looking for faster transitions against teams that are attacking us. We also have another version. We have also another tactic. I call this a 4-5-1. I don't even really know why I call it a 4-5-1. It just came to me as a 4-5-1. And here, this tactic has been set up. This is like the baseline instructions of the tactic. However, there's a possibility this guy might get locked down as a fullback on defense. Here we have more risky passes, more direct. Here we have got more risky passes, more direct for these two boys. So they're going to be bumping balls down the line. We've got DLP on defense, who's mixed passing. We got a volante on support, who's been told to do mixed passing. There's no changes here. We got an AP on attack who has got more direct passing and roam from position. We got inside forward on support who does nothing. A winger on attack who has nothing special lined up for him. And we got a DLF on attack who has nothing special on him as well. So the only thing here is work ball into box, whip crosses, play wider, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, play on control instruction. So these are two different versions of tactics that I would probably use with Lefty Scofia. Well, against your first competition, Dunev, the team played pretty well. We used the 4-2-3-1 here that I spoke about earlier. And our first goal came from a failed attempt from Dunev to score from a set piece. Instead, your players were able to transition very quickly from defense into attack. Boost playing to Yodi Gomez, who's playing as a playmaker in your system. Prochaska playing it out to Obertan. Here we're using Obertan a lot in our system. Prochaska coming to score very late, arriving late to score in the box. Now, there's certain things that I do with this tactic. I tend to use the exploit shot as well with this tactic whenever I feel the need to go attacking tactics or systems that are using wingers or wingbacks in attacking positions, and we were able to do that in this game to some effect. Our second goal was off a set piece. Throw in to a player, and they managed to work the ball into the box. Prochaska scoring the second goal of the game. Overall, the tactic looks a bit solid for your team. They can play in those positions. Sometimes I tend to use the exploit shout if I need to, but overall, if you can get one solid fullback on the left flank, you should be okay. Now, the match against Everton was quite dramatic. I totally expected to lose this match. Everton scored the early goal, second minute. I thought the writing was on the wall. But we managed to come back. We are overload structured using the tactic that I spoke about earlier, which is this tactic that we used in this match. We used the same tactic that we tested out in the last game, and we managed to score a goal right in the dying seconds of the match. Level the match. At least we finished this leg 1-1. We didn't lose to Everton this time around. And well, it's been an interesting experience. Now, I would suggest using the same tactics if you want to with your team. Just these are the settings, and sometimes I use the exploit shot just to get Obertan into space to drill home. And there are times when I play Junior Mapuku in this position, especially if I want to use acceleration against a team, and he has got a lot of acceleration which come in handy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Game Changer and you found it useful. Don't forget the full playthroughs are available in the hot seat. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for making these kind of shows available for the rest of the community. You guys take care and have a good one. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye bye.